So I'm dusting off this video idea. Yeah, about a year ago, I did a series, a Legend of Korra Warhammer 40k AU called Primarch Korra, where in this continuity, what had happened was that um, Korra is the 11th Primarch. In here, only the second has gone missing, or has been excommunicado, one might say. And in here, the reason why Korra is the only female Primarch is because, if you guys remember that little blurb that Malkador once said to like Horus and the others, I think it was Horus, I can't remember. But basically, Malkador mentioned that, like, I made a suggestion that the Emperor should make you all women. Like, it would probably make you guys less competitive. And in here, the Emperor was like, I'm not doing that, but I'll make one of them a woman. So Korra is the only female Primarch. Now, she does have abilities, she does have that, but I want to state that she's not like a Mary Sue here. She's not like, oh, she's the most powerful Primarch and everybody loves her or everybody hates her. It's not like that at all. But we'll get more into that. The reason why I'm rebooting this series is because I rewatched the old videos and I just wasn't really happy with them, especially when I did the Horus Heresy. Because I kind of, in my head, accidentally mixed stuff from the Scouring into the Horus Heresy. So that was kind of a problem. And I didn't like where the story was going. So I decided to reboot it and actually delve more with the Great Crusade kind of story and kind of tweak some stuff I didn't like. So let's get into it. So yes, like I said, Korra is the 11th Primarch. And in this unit, as before, Erda shoots them off into space, she throws them into the warp, and the babies are all separated. Korra lands in the world of the Four Nations, as that's not what the planet's called, that's just what the people call it, because it's still a very primitive planet. And she lands in the south, she lands in the South Pole and is adopted by Tonraq and Senna, and she's raised as their daughter. And Korra, since she's a Primarch, she's already like just better than everybody else. But the thing is, in this world, bending is a form of psyker energy. Like, basically, this planet is home to not only just a high number of psykers, but also a kind of psyker that connects with the four basic elements. So that's how we get bending. And Korra is one of the two psykers that were made by the Emperor. Of course, Magnus, and Magnus is more powerful than her. But Korra, basically living on this planet, channeled her psyker energy into bending all four elements. Now, in this continuity of the Four Nations, when someone can do that, they're called the Avatar. Basically, it's believed the Avatar is like a god, and also like believed to be the great protector of this world, and also like keep the peace. The last one was a powerful Avatar named Aang, but he died. Funny enough, he died a week before Korra landed on the planet. So people believe, like, even Tonraq says, like, we don't know where you came from, Korra, but obviously the gods gave us, like, you know, whatever cosmic force, like, when Avatar Aang passed, you were clearly meant to be, like, his successor. So Korra essentially took on the role of Avatar, and she was also, you know, as she got older, you know, people saw her as like a savior, a god, but Korra herself never really saw that. She never let that get to her head. It was more like, yeah, I'm just doing my job. Like, I just want to better people. Like, I feel this drive inside of me to protect and serve these people how they should be treated. You know, she stopped civil wars, corruption, things like that, and was also guided by a airbending psyker named Tenzin. Tenzin was her mentor and her teacher for the longest time. And after everything, like fighting alongside her and teaching her and guiding her, you know, Tenzin became her most trusted advisor. Now, world's doing pretty good until one day deep in Republic City, where Korra's declaring that, like, she's weeded out corruption from several councilmen, basically she senses the presence of someone in the crowd, and it's someone she's had dreams about, a giant, a man made of gold. That person is wearing a cloak, and she immediately is like, you, step out, like, step up here. So the man pulls off his cloak, undoes his hood, and reveals, yeah, it's the God Emperor. And she's like, I know you. Like, who are you? And he's like, you and I shall speak, should speak in private. And she's like, no, we'll speak here in front of the people. And the Emperor just reveals his true self and is like, no, we'll talk, we'll talk in private, number 11. And she's like, what are you talking about? So the Emperor persuades her to join her on her ship. And keep in mind, the planet that she's on, it may have some technological advancement, but it's not space travel worthy. So Korra's been kind of living like a primitive for the most part in the eyes of the Emperor. So the Emperor basically explains, like, hey, I'm your dad. I created you, and you have a lot of brothers. We basically have been looking. I've been looking for all of you. I've been searching for all of you, and I would, I need you to come home with me to Terra to, help fight in the Great Crusade to unify all of mankind. And Korra's like, you're not going to hurt my people, are you? And he's like, that depends entirely on you, doesn't it, Korra? Number 11. And she goes, my name's Korra. And he goes, fair enough. That's your name, whatever. So Korra joins and returns to Terra, where she's reunited with her Space Marine Legion, who are all men. I just want to state, like, it's not like it's all women or all men, or a mix of men and women. It's all men. Mostly because, like, the Emperor explains, like, you were a special project. Malkador and I took some advice from a friend of mine and made you, but I couldn't repeat that process with your sons. That process of making a Space Marine is taxing enough on a young boy's body. I couldn't replicate it with a woman. Trust me, there were attempts. And Korra's like, back up, I have sons, and he explains, like, the whole thing about Space Marines and things like that. And she's reintroduced with the Frost Warriors. The Frost Warriors in this continuity were, like, warriors based around, like, the northern parts of Terra during the Unification Wars. And they were warriors from tribes of Terra that were near, like, the northern South Pole, or even just in northern parts of the world that were still, like, cold, and, basically they were built for harsh environments. So Korra, when she's introduced to the Frost Warriors, she renames them the Ursa Majors, mostly after her pet polar bear dog Naga, a Ursa Major in her own right. So she renames them the Ursa Majors, and she when she first meets them, they're like, our mother has returned, and Korra's immediately like, do not call me that. I do not like that. It's good to meet you all. How are you doing? She doesn't know what to do. She's been very much like, I've been fighting by myself. I don't really like the idea of any of this, but she does accept the Ursa Majors as her sons, and among them is our two brothers, Mako and Bolin, who were made Frost Warriors / Ursa Majors, and they both are, like, in awe of seeing their mother again, their gene mother. And Korra's like, you guys, she sees the capability and drive. Sorry, I stumbled over my words. Within them, and is like, yeah, you guys are going to be, the tip of this spear for this unification war. She also goes back to her world, because she, as always with most Primarchs, when you land on a world, that's your home world, except when you're Rogel. She goes back to the Four Nations, which the Emperor explains, that world's called, that planet is called such and such, and she's like, we call it the Four Nations, and he's just like, call it whatever, I don't care, it's part of the Imperium now. So she goes back with the Ursa Majors, and not only has Tenzin be made into a Ursa Major, she also makes him into the Ursa Major's chief librarian. She also establishes that Mako shall be the chapter master of the group, of the Legion. So Mako impressed her so much during the Unification Wars that she's like, yeah, you're going to be chapter master. Tenzin, you're going to be my chief librarian. this will be our home, and this is where we'll harvest, we will recruit soldiers from here. This will be our home planet. So let's talk about Korra's relations with the other Primarchs, her brothers. Remember, she's the only sister. But that doesn't mean like, oh, we all like our younger sister or our little sister, or we all just care about her. No, she has very varied different relations with each Primarch. If you're guessing, yes, Jaghatai and Lehman are her two favorites. Jaghatai Khan especially is her favorite brother. The two get along excellent, and they basically are, they both have that kind of same raised free life kind of thing. And also they don't view the Emperor as like a god. They view him as like a king, but that doesn't make him his father. She does get along with Lehman. She enjoys the freedom that Lehman has, and also enjoys the beer that his people make, his Space Marines make. As for other Primarch, of those the two, Lehman, Russ and Jaghatai are the two that she gets along the most with. Of course, she gets along great with Sanguinius. Everyone loves Sanguinius. So that goes without saying that, Sanguinius is also a close brother of mine. And also Horus. This is before the Horus heresy, so we'll get to that part later. But she also does care a lot. She also thinks Horus is also the most legit one. And when Horus is made War Master, she actually, rather than feel any jealousy, she's like, she actually has a conversation with Horus, and Horus is like, I can kind of sense that all of you don't like it. Like, you don't, all of you should have taken this title. You all have your own reasons. Lion, definitely, I feel it from him. And Korra's like, I never wanted this. You were the best option. Like, she tells Horus straight up, like, you were the only option that the Emperor could give that was the right answer. So, I say, you're the best. Like, you are the best of us, Horus, and I fully support your decision. I fully support you being War Master, and I'll follow you. So she's got that going for her. As for her other brothers, she does not like the Lion. Like, her and Lion do not get along at all. She also thinks she has a lot of agreements with Guilliman, but she also doesn't like, he's more of a, sees him more of a statesman than a soldier. But she does respect Guilliman. They both have the whole thing of the Emperor's not a god. We also don't call him father, things like that. But she also thinks she kind of views Guilliman more of a pencil pusher than anything else. Then you have Corvus. She gets along fine with him. She gets along fine with most of the other Primarchs. Rogel, same with Lion. She personally thinks Rogel's too much of a stick in the mud and too obstinate to work with. But yeah. Now, as for the soon-to-be traitor Primarchs, does not like Mortarion, does not like Angron. She holds a lot of sympathy for Angron. She's like, I know what happened to you on Nuceria. I'm sorry about what the Emperor did of leaving you behind, but you're awful. You are awful to your, taking it out on your own sons. That's not okay. Same thing with Conrad. She does not like Conrad at all. Alfarius doesn't care for him either. Now, she does hold some love for. Also, she also thinks Fulgrim's a prick. She just straight up tells him all the time, "You're a prick, and your sons are weird." But the two traitor Primarchs she gets along with the most are actually Magnus and Lorgar. Magnus is because, like her, he's a psyker. Magnus and Korra are the only psychers, only their powers work differently. And it's actually interesting that she actually enjoys going to Prospero sometimes. She likes to visit Prospero sometimes when she's not out crusading with her warriors to visit Magnus. And, Magnus loves to tell her all the things he's learned or wants to learn. And she always does that's great, but also maybe pump the brakes here, bro. But she respects him. And also, Magnus set up a psychic communication between her and Korra, so they could talk mentally long distance, or if they were close proximity somewhere in the galaxy. Anyway, And there's Lorgar. Lorgar, she cares for and actually defends from the other son. Oh yeah, she also loves Vulcan. Like, I forgot to mention, yeah, she loves Vulcan too. But getting back to Lorgar, she likes, and she also has like a lot of theological discussions with him, because Lorgar views the Emperor as a god. She doesn't. She's like, he's just a very powerful dude, but that doesn't mean he's a god. And also, like, she also defends him from the other brothers who kind of pick on Lorgar and call him just, they're just mean to him. And she's like, guys, leave him alone. Leave Lorgar alone. But she has a lot of conversations with him, and also, like, tells him straight up, like, hey, maybe you should cool it with the whole worshipping the Emperor thing. He doesn't deserve it. And also, he's gonna get pissed if you keep this up. Like, you need to, pump the brakes here. So, but Lorgar doesn't listen. And then Monarchia happens. Now, Korra wasn't there. Korra was not there, but she hears about Monarchia and goes right at Gilliman. She goes to find Gilliman and is like, the hell is wrong with you? And he's like, I didn't have a choice. The Emperor made me do it. And she's like, you could have said no. Like, you have the largest legion ever. And Gilliman goes, but he's the Emperor, okay? I cannot disobey an order. And maybe this will be a wake-up call for Lorgar. And she's like, you backstabbed him. You hurt him. So she goes to look for Lorgar after Monarchia, but Lorgar's gone missing. He and the word bearers, they're gone. And she's just like, I don't know where they went, but I do not like the idea. And she even offers, she basically says, I'm going to go find him. I'm going to go find Lorgar and bring him back. But the Emperor's like, no, let him be a bitch. Like, he wants to go cry about it. That's his problem. He wasn't getting us enough planets for the Imperium. You've got crusading to do. So Korra begrudgingly has to carry on the mission, carry on with the crusade, wondering what happened to Lorgar. Of course, we all know with that, and Erebus and everything else. So as a little tease into when we get to Chapter 2, the Horus Heresy, Korra basically, she's made it very clear that, she does not care for the Emperor and things like that. And she also, she basically has when Lorgar returns, there's a conversation between him and Korra, because he's like, she's also noted that Horus is acting a little funny, and she talks to Russ about it, and Russ is just like, stress of being the War Master, don't care. But she basically has a conversation when Lorgar returns, and he basically tells her, I found the truth. Horus will probably see this truth too, and what we want to see, what do you think of the Emperor? And she's like, he's a dick, but he's the Emperor. And he's like, but what if we could, what if Horus could alter that destiny? Could we change it? And Korra's like, I do not like where you're going with this. And he's like, I'm just talking. And she's like, yeah, you're talking because, you weren't just all over the Emperor and claiming he's a god. And he goes, he's a false god. And Korra's like, I don't think I could, I hate him too, but, I see the good we're doing, and I have to believe that, despite everything, it will all be worth it. And if the Emperor gets too powerful, or if something becomes of it, then I will stand against him, but not before, or if he's given me no cause to prove that. And he's like, so what happened to me in Monarchia didn't give you a pause? And she's like, I did. That's not the point. And Lorgar's like, I hope you realize the truth before the truth finds you. And he leaves, and Korra's like, that was ominous. So Korra leaves thinking hey, something's up with Lorgar. I'm going to go talk to Horus. And she can't find Horus anywhere. And she's basically trying to reach out to Horus through through Vox, and she's not hearing anything. And that's when an order comes in from from the Emperor himself. Horus has become a traitor. It is time. Go to Isfahan, take him out. Him and his legion are traitors. We're massing a massive traitor legion. Go there, take him out. Now, the big thing with this, and we'll talk more about it when we get to Horus Heresy, is that since Korra is here, there's an uneven number of loyalists to traitor Primarchs. So Korra is going to be a tipping scale for either side, and each side knows that. Is that if Korra joins one side or the other, because she has a very large legion, it's not on the same level as like Sanguinius or the Ultramarines, but it's like the same level of the legion that the Dark Angels have. And everyone, if they can, she's also kind of a powerful Primarch in her own right. So the Traitor Legion really want her on their side, but Korra's already made her bed, and now she's going to have to lie in it, because now we're headed into the Horus Heresy in the next video. I mean, when we get to the next chapter. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of this second, of this new reboot version of the Great Crusade with Primarch Korra? Just let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of it. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.